You are at war. You have always been at war. But you have been lied to. They told you the battlefield was out there, in the office, in the bank account, in the opinions of others. A convenient lie. The true war is silent. It rages in the dark of your own skull. Your enemy is not your boss, your past, or your circumstances. Your enemy is the ghost that lives in your mind, the ghost of who you were told to be, the obedient child, the polite servant, the apologetic shadow. This ghost feeds on your fear. It drinks your hesitation. It has made a home in your comfort. And you have carried it, this parasite of the soul, believing it was you. Nietzsche did not come to motivate you. He came to arm you, to hand you the hammer to shatter the tomb you have mistaken for a home. This is not a lesson. It is a declaration of war on yourself.
You wake. This is your first surrender. The alarm rings and you reach not for your sword, but for the snooze button. A small delay, a minor plea for more oblivion. You stumble to the kitchen. You consume the first poison of the day, the warm liquid of routine, the sweet pastry of distraction. You scroll through the digital screams of the world, letting the chaos of strangers fill the silent, empty spaces of your own mind. You are eating their fears for breakfast. You are drinking their anxieties. You are fortifying the walls of your own prison with every sip, every scroll, every meaningless click. This is what Nietzsche called the morning of the modern man. It is not a beginning. It is a repetition of a slow death. You call this peace. You call this stability. You have given it pretty, harmless names. Nietzsche gave it its true name, decay. The comfort you crave is the comfort of the grave. It is quiet, it is safe, it demands nothing of you. It is the warm, stifling blanket of the herd, smothering the unique, dangerous, beautiful animal that you were meant to be. You have traded your potential for a predictable temperature. You have sold your thunder for a gentle hum. Look at your hands. They are not stained with dirt, but with the residue of 1,000 compromises. You shake hands with people you despise. You applaud for achievements you find hollow. You hold the leash that binds you, and you call it a career. You have been taught to be a good custodian of your own cage, to keep it clean, to decorate it with trophies and titles, to arrange the bars in a pleasing pattern and call it a life well lived. This poison is not administered by a tyrant. It is a recipe you follow yourself every single day. You are the one who chooses the softer pillow. You are the one who opts for the easier word. You are the one who swallows the truth because it is too sharp, too difficult to digest. The world does not make you weak. It simply offers the weakness, and you eagerly accept. You line up for your dose. You thank them for the service. This is the slave's breakfast, a feast of obedience, a banquet for the ghost in your mind. And with every bite, you are thanking your jailer. You are voting for your chains. You are digesting your own will, until nothing is left but the quiet, agreeable rumble of a stomach that is never truly hungry, and a soul that has forgotten how to starve for something greater. The first step to power is to stop eating the poison, to push the plate away, to feel the gnawing hunger of an unmasked will. It will be the most terrifying meal you have ever skipped. It begins not with a bang, but with a wrinkle of the nose. You are in a room, laughing at a joke that is not funny. You are at a table, nodding in agreement with a lie you have recognized. You're reading the words of a praised author and finding them hollow, weightless. A subtle shift in the air, a sour note in the symphony of the herd. It is the first, faint, undeniable stench. For years, you breathed this air and called it perfume. The approval of the crowd was your oxygen. Their values were your compass, their goals your destination. You marched in lockstep, the rhythm of 1,000,000 feet a comforting lullaby against the terror of your own footsteps. But now, the rhythm feels like a chain gang's chant. The music is out of tune. The man next to you, sweating and striving for the same empty prize, begins to smell not of ambition, but of fear. The collective breath of the multitude is no longer life-giving. It is the damp, warm exhalation of a beast that is dying and does not know it. This is the unraveling. A thread has been pulled in the tapestry of your borrowed reality. It is the awakening of your own disgust. And disgust, for Nietzsche, is the beginning of all great philosophy. It is the visceral, intellectual, spiritual recoil from what is rotten. You look at the prizes you were running toward, the corner office, the larger house, the polite applause, and you see the skull beneath the skin. You see the quiet desperation masquerading as ambition. You see the fear of death disguised as a love of life. The conversations that once entertained you now feel like a form of violence. The platitudes, the cliches, the unexamined slogans, they are a kind of spiritual poison, and your soul is now rejecting them. You are becoming allergic to the mediocre. This is not cynicism. Cynicism is a pose. This is clarity. It is the immune system of a rising spirit finally identifying the infection. The ghost inside you, the slave, is beginning to rot, and the stench of its decay is so potent it makes everything else stink along with it. Do not run from this disgust. It is not your enemy. It is your most loyal guide. It is the first sign of health in a sick world. It is the quiet, insistent voice of your will to power, finally strong enough to gag on the pablum it has been fed. The herd is beginning to stink. Good, let it. Let your nose lead you out of the slaughterhouse. Let your disgust be the compass that points you toward the cold, clean, solitary mountain air. The stench is not a problem to be solved. It is a threshold to be crossed. And you are standing at its edge. The enemy has a voice. It speaks with your own. It is the first voice you hear in the morning, whispering of risk. It is the last voice at night, cataloging your failures. It is the internalized chorus of every "thou shalt" and "thou shalt not" you were ever taught. It is the dragon that guards the golden hoard of your potential, and you have been feeding it your entire life. This is the true war. It is not fought with fists or weapons, but with a silence that cuts deeper than any sword. The battlefield is the landscape of your own mind. Every thought is a soldier, every hesitation a deserter, every moment of courage a territory reclaimed. The enemy's strategy is simple, ancient, and devastatingly effective. It disguises its own voice as your conscience. It makes you believe that its fear is your prudence, that its limitations are your wisdom, that its obedience is your virtue. You must learn to recognize its language. It speaks in the conditional tense, you should, you must, you ought to. It speaks in the passive voice, it couldn't be helped. That's just the way things are. It weaponizes the past to paralyze the future. Remember what happened last time? It is a parasite that feeds on your yes and excretes your no. To slay this dragon is not to achieve a state of bliss. It is to achieve a state of sovereignty. It is to stand in the ruins of your inherited morality and from the rubble begin to build your own citadel. The battle is fought in 1,000 silent moments. It is fought when you choose to speak your truth instead of the convenient lie. It is fought when you choose to stand alone instead of kneel with the crowd. It is fought when you silence the need for applause and listen only for the sound of your own will. You will not slay it once. You will slay it every day. It is a hydra. For every head you cut off, 2 more may whisper from the shadows. The voice of the herd is tenacious. It does not die. It only retreats, waiting for a moment of your weakness to return and claim its throne. The battlefield never closes. The war is eternal. But with every victory, your spirit hardens, your resolve becomes granite, your inner ear becomes attuned to the single clear note of your own command, rising above the static of the 1,000 thou shalts. The dragon's death is not a moment of peace, it is a moment of terrifying quiet. The noise stops, the constant commentary, the judgment, the fear, it falls silent. And in that silence, for the first time, you are left alone with the one voice that has always mattered, the one that needs no permission, the one that was there before the world told you who to be, your own. The dragon is slain. The old tables of "thou shalt" lie shattered at your feet. The silence is now absolute. And in this silence, you feel it for the first time. Not as a concept, but as a physical law within you. A pressure, a tension, a relentless subterranean force pushing upward, demanding expression. This is not the void. This is the ground of your being. This is your will to power. It has been misnamed. The weak call it a desire for domination over others. That is merely its sickly, distorted shadow. The true will to power is the fundamental drive of all life, not to seek peace, but to overcome, to grow, to expand, to become more than you are. A plant does not seek to dominate the rock. It seeks to break through it to reach the sun. A river does not conquer the canyon. It carves its own path to the sea. You have spent a lifetime building dams against this river. Now the dam is gone. The water is free. What do you do with this force? You do not use it, you channel it. You give it form. With the old morality dead, you are not left with emptiness. You are left with a forge. And on this anvil, you must now hammer your own values. You must write your own table of "I will." This is the most solitary task a human can undertake. No prophet will guide you. No book will give you the answers. You must look into the abyss of your own soul and decide what is holy. You must take the raw, chaotic energy of your becoming and pour it into a shape of your own design. This is the birth of the sovereign, the one who does not ask, "Is this allowed?" but declares, "This is what I am." Your law is not for anyone else. It is the internal constitution of your own spirit. It might demand discipline that looks like madness to the herd. It might demand a solitude they call loneliness. It might demand a destruction they call evil. Their opinion is no longer data. It is noise. Your will to power is your artistic medium. Your life is the block of marble, and you are the sculptor. Every choice is a chisel strike. Every refusal to revert to the old ghost is a blow that chips away the excess, revealing the form hidden within. You are not finding yourself, you are creating yourself. You are imposing a beautiful, terrible order upon the chaos of your potential. You are no longer a subject of a kingdom. You are the kingdom, the lawgiver, the ruler. The only subject that remains is the world itself, which now exists not as your master, but as your domain, the raw material awaiting the command of your will. The forge is hot. The hammer is in your hand. The only question that remains is what you will choose to create or destroy. For the two, in the economy of the higher man, are the same.
You have your law. You have your will. Now the universe tests you. It does not test you with obstacles. It tests you with a single, devastating question. Do you have the strength to love what must be? You look at your past, the wounds, the betrayals, the failures, the moments of exquisite weakness. The ghost of a different life whispers in your ear, if only that had not happened. If only you had been stronger. If only you had been born under a kinder star. This whisper is a war against reality, and reality always wins. To fight it is to bleed yourself dry on an altar of what might have been. It is the final, most subtle fortress of the slave, the belief that your life should have been easier. Nietzsche's answer is a hammer blow. Amor Fati, love your fate. Not acceptance, not resignation, a fierce, ecstatic, roaring yes. You must learn to look at every scar, every loss, every fragment of your history and see it not as a mistake, but as a necessary brushstroke in the masterpiece of who you are. The battle was not an interruption of your peace. The battle was the purpose. The chaos was not a deviation from the plan. The chaos was the plan. This is the ultimate transvaluation of all values. The weak man curses the storm that broke his branches. The man of power thanks it, for it showed him which of his roots were strong enough to hold. He does not seek to erase the past, he seeks to redeem it by willing it. He turns his darkest memories into his greatest teachers. His most painful regrets become the foundation of his resolve. He would will everything that has happened, the humiliation, the pain, the loneliness, to happen again exactly the same in an eternal recurrence. Not because he is a masochist, but because he has become the author of his own story, and a true author loves every word, even the tragic ones, for they are essential to the plot. The battle is not a means to an end. The battle is the end. The struggle is not what you endure for power. The struggle is the expression of power. To love your fate is to fall in love with the fight itself. To cherish the enemy for making you strong. To thank the darkness for making your light necessary. You stop wishing for a different path and begin to see the brutal, beautiful perfection of the path you are on. It is the path that made you. It is the path you were meant to walk. Your fate is not what happens to you. It is what you do with what happens to you. And when you can look at the totality of your existence, the sublime and the horrific, and pronounce it good, you have achieved the final victory. You have disarmed the world. There is nothing left it can do to you that you cannot will, and thus cannot transform into fuel for your fire. Power is not loud. Power is quiet. You have forged your law. You have learned to love your fate. Now you must build your fortress. Its walls are not made of stone, but of silence.
This is not the silence of the vacant mind. It is the silence of the concentrated will. It is the stillness at the eye of the storm. The herd is a cacophony, a marketplace of anxieties, opinions, and constant, desperate validation. It chatters to fill the void. It complains to feel alive. It seeks ears to hold its fragile self-image. You used to live in that noise. You mistook it for life. Now you recognize it for what it is, a drain, a leak, a dissipation of vital force. Every unnecessary word is a drop of your power spilled onto the ground. Every reaction to a trivial provocation is a string pulled by a puppeteer you have outgrown. Your fortress of silence is where you cease to react and begin to act. It is the inner citadel where your will gathers its strength, untroubled by the static of the world. You withdraw not from the battle, but into the armory. Here, in the quiet, you hear the clear, cold voice of your own command. Here, you conserve the immense energy that others waste on explaining, justifying, and pleasing. This silence is a weapon. It makes you unpredictable. It makes you ungovernable. The herd cannot control what it cannot understand. It cannot manipulate what gives no reaction. Your silence becomes an impenetrable shield. They will throw their insults, their provocations, their demands for your attention against it, and they will hear nothing in return but the echo of their own weakness. Your silence judges them. It exposes the poverty of their need for noise. But its primary function is not defensive. It is generative. In this profound quiet, your will to power consolidates. Thoughts become crystalline. Intentions become sharp. The chaos of potential coalesces into a single, undivided purpose. This is where you plot your next overcoming. This is where you stare into the abyss of your own possibilities and choose your next mountain to climb. All great things are conceived in silence. They are born in action, but they are gestated in the deep, soundless womb of a concentrated spirit. The world mistakes this silence for emptiness. Let them. Their misunderstanding is your advantage. They see a void where you have built a reservoir of immense pressure. They see a lack where you have cultivated a plenitude. Do not break your silence for their comfort. Let them chatter. Let them buzz. You are gathering your strength. You are listening to a different frequency, the frequency of your own destiny. And when you finally speak or act, it will not be a comment. It will be a command. It will not be a request. It will be an event. The world bows to silence, for silence is the language of the unshakable. You stand at the edge. Your fortress of silence has given you a terrible clarity. You look out, past the noise of the herd, past your own created values, and you see it, the abyss, the great yawning void at the heart of everything. There is no grand design, no cosmic justice, no final scorekeeper. The universe is indifferent. It does not love you. It does not hate you. It simply is. Your life is a flicker, your achievements dust. Your most profound loves and agonies are, in the grand, cold calculus of eternity, meaningless. This is the ultimate test. The herd spends its entire life building tiny, fragile bridges over this abyss. They call them religion, patriotism, career, family. They are beautiful, delicate lies, and for a time they hold. But you? You have burned your bridges. You have chosen to see. And now you must choose, to fall or to dance. The weak man looks into the abyss, and the abyss looks back. He sees the absence of meaning and collapses into nihilism. Nothing matters, he whimpers, and lies down to die. His will dissolves. This is the final victory of the slave, to be freed from one master, God, only to become a slave to another, nothingness. But you are not weak. You see the same void, and you understand the absence of a prescribed meaning is not a prison. It is the ultimate liberation. If there is no script, then you are free to write your own. If there is no judge, then you are free to create your own standards of beauty and strength. The abyss is not a tomb. It is the highest, most terrifying dance floor. This is the dance with meaninglessness. You do not defeat the void, you partner with it. Its silence becomes the music for your dance. Its emptiness becomes the space for your art. You take the absolute freedom it offers, a freedom that would shatter a lesser spirit, and you impose upon it your own meaning. You become the meaning maker, the value giver, the one who says, "This matters because I say it does." Your life is not a sentence to be served, it is a poem to be written, a sculpture to be carved from the formless marble of chaos. The void is the raw material, your will to power is the chisel. You will not find meaning, you will create it. You will project it upon the void like a blazing light. And in that act of supreme, arrogant, beautiful creation, you will have achieved the highest state of being. You will not have answered the question of life, you will have become the question, and the answer, and the dance that holds them both. The ground is not solid, it never was, so you learn to walk on air. Now, the final question, the ultimate test of your sovereignty. It is a single terrifying thought experiment, a spiritual guillotine that severs the higher man from the last of his illusions. What if a demon crept into your loneliest loneliness and said to you, "This life as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more, and there will be nothing new in it, but every pain and every joy and every thought and sigh and everything unutterably small or great in your life will have to return to you, all in the same succession and sequence." Would you not throw yourself down and gnash your teeth and curse the demon who spoke thus? Or have you once experienced a tremendous moment when you would have answered him, "You are a god, and never have I heard anything more divine"? This is the doctrine of the eternal recurrence. It is not a cosmological theory, it is the ultimate yes, the final seal pressed upon the wax of a life lived with power. The slave hears this and feels the noose of eternity tighten around his neck. The thought of reliving his mediocrity, his cowardice, his half-lived loves, and his fully felt regrets, this is hell. It is the ultimate indictment of a life spent in avoidance. But you have slain the dragon of thou shalt. You have forged your own law. You have loved your fate and learned to dance on the abyss. For you, the eternal return is not a sentence, it is a ritual. It is the Master's daily prayer. To will the eternal return of your identical life is to declare that every moment, the glorious and the grotesque, was necessary, that you would not change a single note in the symphony of your existence, for to do so would be to unravel the whole magnificent composition. It is to look upon your creation and pronounce it perfect, not because it is without flaw, but because it is yours. This is the final act of Amor Fati. It is the love of fate made infinite. It transforms your life from a series of accidents into a necessary work of art. You live now as if each decision, each action, each silent victory in the fortress of your mind were destined to echo for all time. Because in the only way that matters, they are. You are no longer living a linear path toward an end. You are sculpting a circle of eternal affirmation.
The master does not hope for a better afterlife. He has created a life so potent, so fully his own, that its eternal repetition is the highest form of bliss. This is the climax of the will to power, the will to become the cause of your own joy forever. The ritual is simple. At the peak of your joy, in the depth of your resolve, ask yourself, is this something I would will to live again and again for all eternity? If the answer is not a roaring, unhesitating yes, then you are not yet done. You have more to create, more to overcome, more of yourself to become. Become the man whose eternity would be a blessing.